Now, Blair, you and I both know that failure isn't necessarily the negative that people make it out to be, and through failure we find success. So tell us some of your failures in sales and how they have led to your successes.
Well, I've thought about that, and you know what? I could give you a snapshot of every single day. My experience in business and in life is that, in particularly business, is simply going from one failure to the next, mitigating, correcting, and moving ahead. And that's how you get ahead. And so I think that you're right. I mean, one of my mentors was a fellow by the name of the late Dr. Buckminster Fuller, and he said you had a right foot and a left foot, not a right foot and a wrong foot. You make a mistake to the right, then to the left, then the right, and you end up going forward. That's how it works. If you go out and make 40 calls, you're going to probably get maybe 5 people that are interested. So you fail all those other times, but you learn something new each time. I think for me, probably the biggest time that I remember was way back in the days of Burroughs when I first got hired. We were given 6 weeks to sell $10,000 worth of desktop calculators door to door. If you could do that, check this out. If you could do that, then they would send you to sales training, which I always thought was backwards. Why don't you teach us how to sell first? But obviously it was a screening process. 2 weeks into it, my sales manager called me in. He goes, if you don't sell something in the next 48 hours, you're fired. And that was a big, big, big lesson for me because I was so terrified to talk to somebody. My little voice was saying, they're going to think I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't have an appointment. They're not going to like me. And I wouldn't even make a call. I'd take 2-hour coffee breaks. Following that bad news of getting fired if I didn't sell something in 48 hours, the following day I made 68 cold calls in one day. And I got to tell you there, I sold nothing. Absolutely nothing that day, but I did accomplish the most important sale, which is the value of a failure. 68 times I failed, but every single time I built more confidence in myself. After a while, I didn't care what people thought about me. I didn't care whether they were kicking me out, and I got laughed at, yelled at, but you know what? I accomplished the most important sale of all, which is selling me to me. And I can honestly tell you the following day, on 10 calls, after the pendulum swung back the other way, I closed 2 deals to save my job and within 18 months became their number 1 sales rep. Now, why do I say this? Because it took the 68 failures, for me to find out who I was, to find out what kind of commitment, what kind of inspiration, what kind of intestinal fortitude I had. Could I stand up to the task? And every time you fail, 2 things happen. Number 1, you learn something. You learn what didn't work and then how to correct. So you want to have mistakes so that you correctly know how to move forward. I find people that get success early, and the economy changes and they can't repeat it because they had such an early success and no failures along the way. They don't really know why they were successful. So that's number 1. The second major value of making a mistake is you find out who you are. You find out your level of commitment. You find out how strong you are or how much further you have to go to get stronger. And for me, those are 2 very powerful benefits of making mistakes. The problem is people don't like to sell because they don't like to get shut down. They don't want to look like an idiot. They don't want to be humiliated. And I understand it because I have that fear too. But it's the mistake along the way that you learn what worked, what didn't work, how to correct. I mean, the mistakes I make today are bigger mistakes than the mistakes I made back then. But I learn more from the bigger mistakes because I have more on the line now.